Hi guys, welcome back to the Wealth and Wellness Podcast, a podcast that's helping you get healthier, wealthier, happier, and hotter. I'm Kat.
And I am Nat.
And today we're going to be talking about a question that we got on our DMs. Nat, do you want to introduce the title?
Yeah, so we got this question in our DMs, and I thought this was a phenomenal question because it's something that I feel like a lot of us struggle with. But if you started over, what would you do first on a wellness journey? Now, before we actually get into this episode, I just wanted to let you guys know that if you're listening to this on audio, we do have a video version on YouTube. So go look us up at the Wealth and Wellness Studio. And also, it would mean the world to Kat and I if you guys left us a 5-star review or a thumbs up.
5-star only.
Only 5-star. If not, just DM us your criticism. We will gladly take it. But for you guys who are new here, this podcast is really the process of Kat and I documenting. We're building a couple businesses together. We each have our own businesses as well. In the process of building our dream lives from scratch. There's a lot of podcasts where you see the final result people talk about after they've made it, but we want to take you guys on the journey, the messy journey.
Yeah, the highs and the lows and everything in between. So yeah, it's super important. And let us know too if you guys like these shorter episodes. That's something that we've started doing and we feel like it's more concise, straight to the point. So
you can listen to this on a walk, on the way to work. Yeah. Let us know. We want your feedback.
Perfect.
So let's get started. Okay, I think I'm going to start. Yeah. If you started over, what would you do first on a wellness journey? So I feel like this is a theme that we've talked a lot about on the podcast, but I don't know if we've talked about it enough. I don't think you ever can. But for me, if you guys don't know, I struggled with, honestly, body dysmorphia and inflammation and really horrible acne. Like, actually, Kat and I both struggled with acne. But like really horrible acne for years of my life.
But we had different journeys, which may be something that you guys will want to hear later, which is I went on Accutane, she did not. And maybe that would be a cool thing for us to talk about.
Yeah.
Just the effects and everything and how we dealt with it. But
100%. But regulating your nervous system. So for women, and we will get more into this later, but understanding that we are so much more sensitive to stress than men are. And your body, if it doesn't feel safe, will literally hold on to fat and inflammation. And even if you're like losing weight, quote unquote, you still won't be happy with how you look because you'll have so much inflammation in your body. It affects your skin, it affects your gut, it affects your metabolism, like everything. So
yeah, totally. No, I definitely agree with that for sure. I am definitely not there on that. That's one of my priorities this year.
Well, and I think for me for so long, like I didn't even know what regulating my nervous system meant. Like I struggled with anxiety for most of my life and I did not understand anything about knowing how to work with, like, notice where am I holding tension in my body? Am I, I don't think I was even like in my body enough to understand, like, am I stressed?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
I was just so busy, like going. And I went through a period of college in particular where I was working out like over 3 to 4 hours a day because I was training for a half Ironman. I was like working as a yoga teacher. I would wake up in the morning and walk. Like I would sleep like 4 hours, drink a Celsius, and then I would drink like 2 coffees, and then I would walk on the treadmill for like hours a day. And anyway, it was not working for me.
And I think the next point goes really well in it with it, which is don't restrict and don't overdo as well. And I think like when I mean restrict, I'm especially thinking with eating. You know, I know there's another point that Nat's going to mention that is important with the eating factor too, but it doesn't, just because you eat more and you eat the right things does not mean you are going to gain more weight. And necessarily. It's there's so much that goes into it. So do not be scared of eating. I used to be scared of eating. Way back we did a podcast where I talked about how I had struggled with bulimia, and it was something that for me was super, super hard, and I was very scared of eating. But actually when I started eating more, but just doing it the right way, I actually started getting leaner. I started getting a body that I was more secure with, and it completely changed the game for me.
Because you had shot your metabolism essentially. So I think a huge part of what we're talking about in particular is like the culture around food with women who, if I feel like especially our mom's generation, I feel like it's a little bit better in ours, but for so many years, like the goal was always like get as skinny as possible, eat as little as possible. It's cool to starve. It's cool to not eat. Like, and it turns into these like horrible, like cycles of either an unhealthy relationship with food or binging, or
Yeah.
then you end up over consuming. Your leptin like spikes, which are like your hunger hormones. They just spike out of control. You
Yeah.
always need to eat. You're obsessing over food, and it actually has the opposite effect. So actually along those lines, I kind of want to tell a quick story of like not focusing on being skinny, but focusing on being healthy. Because when I was in college, again, I had joined this gymnastics team, and I was on a college acrobatic team. And I remember in high school, like I had such a good relationship with my body and food. Like I never was really like weighing myself or looking. And then when I got to college, a lot of my teammates, even though I was small, all my teammates were like, a lot of them actually, and I'm not just saying this, like a lot of them dealt with anorexia.
Yeah, I heard that in like gymnastics and everything is a big thing too.
Well, yeah, like I was 6 years old in rhythmic, and they would tell me, like my coaches told me that I had to stop eating bread. So it's insane. It like does something to you mentally. But when I got there, when you're around a group of girls who I thought that they were like so skinny and like so perfect, and then they would be like, I can't eat lunch today, or had one piece of sushi because I need to lose weight. I was like, well, if you think you're fat, what does that say about me?
Yeah.
And it sent me into this horrible spiral of like tracking my food, but not in a productive way of like eating enough protein. Like it was like, how do I restrict as much as possible? And at the time I was vegan, but not in a healthy way. Like I was literally like restricting, and all I was eating was like processed foods. And I thought, well, I'm only eating 500 to 1,000 calories a day, so I'm gonna do, like I'm doing something right. And instead I shot my metabolism, and just like for years of my life, just like my skin was horrible, my gut was horrible, I was always inflamed, anxious, etc. So yeah, focusing, anyway, how I got out of that is a whole different story, but focusing on not on being skinny, but on being healthy, I think for me personally has had a huge effect.
No, that's huge. I can definitely relate to that for the same like reasons of body dysmorphia and things like that. But it is way more important because honestly, not that if it doesn't get there, but you will get to an ideal body if you focus on being healthy.
And also, I really believe that you can't heal yourself from a place of hate.
Yeah.
Like I think it has to come from a place that's not shame-filled, because those emotional cycles will lead to unhealthy eating patterns. So.
Exactly. No, for sure. My other one was that stress has more an effect than you think. I stress like crazy, and sometimes actually stress helps me with work because I get a lot done. But I realize that it has such an impact on everything, on health, on the way, honestly, my metabolism, my skin health, the way that I like just energy,
Brain
the way that I
health.
sleep, my mental, like, brain fog, everything. And I think that it really, and that goes back to regulating your nervous system, but it has such a huge effect. And I think we've all kind of experienced when, if we go out on like a trip where we're more disconnected and we feel that inner peace, like you are meant to live more like that than to live on a go stress, like no sleep, just anxiety state.
Yes. 100%. And also, stress is a literal killer. Stress is the root cause of inflammation, and inflammation is the root cause of all disease. Man, if you guys do a deep dive in functional medicine, it is insane, especially for women. Because of our hormone levels throughout our cycle, there are parts of our cycle where we literally do not have the hormones there present that help us buffer stress. So it's hard, especially when you live in a world that's so fast-paced, so stressful. But that's honestly why I believe every woman should be an entrepreneur, because then you have the freedom to design your life how you're supposed to. And obviously that's a luxury, but lowering stress is everything.
Yeah, and it even like water retention, like that water retention for me completely, when I was really high stress, my water retention and just looked puffier. It was just
So going along with that, don't underestimate low impact movement, because again, talking about stress is extremely related to the hormone of cortisol. And if you're constantly spiking your cortisol, like I was when I was talking about, like when I was in college, I constantly had so much stress mentally and on my body, that when I started actually doing less high impact movements and more low impact movements, I saw a massive change in my body fat percentage, in the way that I was, in my hunger levels, in my stress levels. Like honestly, for especially for women, like don't underestimate low impact movement. Health does not mean that you have to be running marathons. And honestly, for me, every time I train for marathon, because I enjoy
Yeah.
doing long distance training, every time I train for a marathon, my body ends up I end up being so much hungrier that I actually don't end up being in as much of a deficit as I am when I'm like doing low impact movement. So like a lot of times what you think is like, which is totally fine. There's a time and place for
Yeah,
everything, but like
exactly.
don't feel like the only way you can like lose weight is by running a marathon, because that's just
Exactly.
not
Like
a fact.
walks, I know a lot of people talk about it, but I still
The
believe they're
biggest
so
compromise.
under like hyped. It just yeah, so important to always like personally I would say if you have the chance to walk, walk instead of taking transportation.
Yes,
If you can.
if you can. I love that.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, the next one for me was understanding my cycle. So I'm not there at a level that Nat is. Nat was honestly the biggest inspiration to me in terms of that. Um, for me, it's like, sure, every woman gets her period, you know, the basic things like you, like, you don't really think too much about it. You don't look into the hormones
and
on a
you're
day to
only
day.
told, like as a kid, mostly you're told about your period, and you don't even understand about ovulation. That's actually the main event of your cycle. Not
Yeah,
like we're not really taught about your cycles. We're just told you have a period, you bleed, be ashamed of it.
exactly, exactly. And it happens every month, and that sucks. But if you start, I again, Nat, thanks to Nat, when she started talking more about all the phases, follicular and the ovulation and luteal phase, and I'm probably not
No,
saying
you're
it
saying it right.
exactly
Yeah.
right, but and what you should do in each one of those phases,
To
just
optimize.
yes,
Yeah.
to optimize and to also understand that I should not, if like there are days that I just do not want to do something, and I think why in the world, like why the hell is that happening, and I understand, oh, it's because I'm in this phase of my cycle.
Not because I'm a
I'm
lazy, like
exactly,
broken person.
exactly. It changes from me feeling really sucky about myself to starting to feel like, oh, okay, it's just like a part of this phase. So what can I do that maybe won't stress me more? Maybe it's more creative work. Maybe it's more like
Love
admin
that.
work, or maybe it's more like exactly low impact, or it's something else. So it's just
And
such a huge tool.
I think along those lines, like by having that grace and understanding of where you're at, it's not an excuse for not achieving your goals, but rather like it stops this shame cycle from starting, because
Mhm.
otherwise what ends up happening is you're like, man, this week I can't lift as heavy as I did
Yeah.
last week. So clearly something's wrong with me. I'm going backwards on my progress. So now I'm disappointed in myself. So I'm going to go home and I'm going to eat a bag of chips. And then to make myself feel better, I'm going to like, you just end up in this like
Yeah.
cycle shame thing. And then rather than like having compassion and understanding for yourself, and then working in a way that works with your cycle to achieve your goals.
And your mind has such a big impact, and it will impact you if you feel like you are not doing well and enough, and it will just aggravate it like 10 times worse.
Facts. So good. So good.
Awesome.
Facts. Okay, last kind of points are sleep. Oh my goodness. Sleep over, honestly, again, this for me personally, I understanding the science behind sleep, what that does for your hormone, for your metabolism, for your body, for your brain. I will sleep 8 hours instead of sleeping 5 hours and getting a 2 hour workout in. I would rather sleep 8 hours and do a 30-minute walk that day.
Yeah.
And because again, it impacts your cortisol so freaking much. So I mean, time and place for everything, but just like prioritize sleep.
Yeah. And if you can, prioritize going to bed on the earlier side
So you can
versus
do
on the
it
later
all.
side,
Yeah.
because it is proven and it is studied that deep sleep will happen more between the hours of 10 to 2 a.m., like 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. So that is a window that is super crucial for you to have that restfulness and for your body to be able to rebuild itself when you sleep.
And I'm really bad at this one. Like, this is a goal for me this year.
Yeah, I've gotten a little bit better, but I go in waves. Like sometimes because I travel so much, it's kind of hard. But yeah, I will find myself working into like late hours of the night, and it's just when I stop doing that, even though sure maybe I'm not able to get that deliverable done when I thought I would, the next day I will just feel so much better to get everything else done. And it's not even feel better just that I'm awake, but everything, like even my face will be clearer.
Literally.
You know, like I'll just look
My
more
skin, like I have not slept enough, and we have not slept enough in a while. But because we were traveling right now, but and we're going on like some self-discovery journeys. So point being is my skin is so, everyone's so different, but my skin is so sensitive, and I can literally feel it starting to break out, and I'm like, okay, I know what I need to do. I just go to bed. I mean, not like today we did not work as much as we originally planned, and that's okay because again, if rather than burning out is the worst thing you can do for yourself. Because if you burn out, you won't be able to work out the same way. You won't be able to approach your work the same way. And then just take a little break when you feel your body telling you to, rather than crashing out and not being able to work for 6 months.
Totally.
Like, worth it.
Yeah.
And
the last one's you're really passionate about.
The last one I'm really passionate about, and it's new for me. But hitting our protein goals. Kat and I are going to get huge butts this winter, we've decided. So in order to do that, you have to eat. You have to eat, and you have to eat enough protein. And again, I talked about this before, but one of the biggest things with the first time I started tracking my food, it was so bad because I was only tracking calories and I was wondering, why am I always hungry? But I did not understand macros. And now that I'm starting to hit my body weight in protein, I have literally seen my body change, and I haven't even done it that consistently. Yeah. So I'm very excited to do that this winter. But protein.
And our friend Caitlin, she's is very knowledgeable about all this.
Go follow her, Caitlin Brianna Coaching.
So, yeah, because it's really awesome, all the knowledge she has about this.
Come say hi, Caitlin.
Yeah, Caitlin's here.
Talk about protein.
Hi. Protein is my favorite thing ever.
Wait, did it stop recording?
No way.
Anyway, yeah, so Caitlin, do you have any last words for listeners?
Well, I was over there listening to this, and that was a beautiful podcast. I loved everything you guys talked about. I think it's so inspiring when you hear someone's journey from like where they started with their relationship with food to where they are now, because that stuff impacts every aspect of your life. So it was beautiful listening to this, and very proud of you guys.
And this is the page to go to for food. So definitely go there.
Workout and everything. Yeah. Best coach,
because she's gonna be the one who's gonna help us get really big butts this winter.
Yeah,
so that's our hotter tip for today, guys. But thank you so much for submitting this question. We love answering your questions, so please submit more.
Yeah, let us know. And again, like Nat said in the beginning, leave us a review, 5-star review.
Only a 5-star.
Yeah, and if you guys have any other topics you want us to talk about, just let us know, and we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.
I love that. That was beautiful.
That was so good, guys.